Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyervip.com. Today is August 11th, 2017. Now first, as I make this video, just understand that right now Bitcoin is a shade under $3,500 a coin. Right? In an earlier video, I pointed out that nothing I say in any sports betting video is going to open the door to profits greater than you would get investing in cryptocurrency. Right? I think you want to give it a look if you're a gambler and you're looking for profits. Understand, with regard to cryptocurrency, in my opinion, you're still in the first half of the first inning. Right? Again, Bitcoin, as I make this video, just a shade under $3,500 a coin. Now let's talk about the Floyd Mayweather fight. First, let's clear up some misinformation. Right? I was listening to one of my favorite radio shows, the Colin Cowherd show, and Cowherd was saying that tickets aren't selling and stuff like that, right? You have a bunch of people out there talking about how tickets aren't selling and that this Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight is at risk and all this other stuff, right? Here's what you need to know. In the UFC's best year, according to Dana White, a great source, in the UFC's best year, over 44 events, their best cumulative take for all 44 events was $80 million. 80. Right? Just understand that this Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight, one event, has already generated, and I'm talking about already generated, more than $60 million in ticket sales. Folks, this is a financial bonanza. Don't look at unsold tickets. And by the way, it's my belief those tickets will be sold by the time of the event. You still have a few weeks to go. Don't look at unsold tickets. Look at the amount of money that's already been collected. Folks, we haven't even gotten to the pay-per-view. And they have already collected $60 million. By the way, as you can imagine, this fight's going to be in an arena, not a stadium. Right? Did you know that the $60 million is already more than half of the best gate ever received in Super Bowl history? Right? That's a stadium event. Right? This arena event is already at more than half in terms of what they've already collected of the take for the biggest gate in Super Bowl history. So just understand, people are going to spin this however they want. Look at the numbers. They haven't even finished the ticket sales. And this is already the biggest generating, the biggest gate in UFC history. It's a financial windfall. Now let's talk about how, as we get closer to the event, the truth has finally come out. Weeks ago, here online, I opined that the best bet in sports any gambler could make was to take Floyd Mayweather by KO in this fight at a then -154. Right? Go back, look at my videos on this fight. You're going to see me several days ago saying the best possible bet was Floyd by KO. Well, guess what? After we've been inundated with a lot of marketing ploys, right? Floyd saying, I'm not the man I used to be. Right? Floyd saying, hey, I'm in my 40s. Right? After all of these tactics to sell tickets, right? Someone leaking films of Paulie Malignaggi being pushed down to the canvas during a sparring session by Conor McGregor, right after all of the salesmanship. Floyd Mayweather quietly said in an interview that he personally would consider it a loss if Conor McGregor goes the distance. Right? Think about it. This is a guy who's unbeaten, telling you that he personally, saying it publicly, he would consider it a loss if Conor McGregor goes the distance. I'm just telling you, the only question I have on whether Floyd gets the KO, the only concern is whether Floyd hurts his hands hitting Conor McGregor's hard head. I don't think McGregor's going to be able to stop Floyd's left hook. I really don't. Understand, too, if Floyd wanted, he could lead with straight right hands. He did so against Robert the Ghost Guerrero. Right? My only concern is that Floyd hits McGregor flush. McGregor looks like he's a hard head, right? And hurts his hand. I have really no concern about McGregor being able to take Floyd's punch. He won't be able to. Right? I'm just keeping it real here. Because Floyd is too sudden. Because McGregor is not a professional boxer. Because professional boxers have wilted on that left hook. Understand, Floyd's fighting Juan Manuel Marquez. Right? And you know the rest. Marquez slips up once, ends up on the canvas. Now, it's only because Juan Manuel Marquez is Juan Manuel Marquez. You know, when he gets off the canvas, he knows how to defend himself, and he knows not to get too close to Mayweather's left hand again, that Marquez goes the distance in the fight. Right? Understand, I've seen Floyd fights where it's clear to me Floyd could take the other guy out. But Floyd has decided to play it safe, in part out of respect to his opponent. So yes, as I've said here online before, I thought Floyd could have ended the show against Miguel Cotto. Right? A guy who would go on to win the middleweight title. Right? A guy who knocked down Sergio Martinez. If you go back and if you look at the 12th round of the Cotto fight, and they get to the 12th round because Cotto is a future Hall of Famer. Right? You're going to notice Floyd hurt Cotto badly with left hooks, and then Floyd takes his foot off the gas. Why? Because Floyd knew that this was a victory lap. And I believe because Floyd feels that Cotto has done things the right way. Right? Cotto is a great ambassador for the sport. Cotto has fought the same tough guys Floyd has fought, right? Manny Pacquiao, etc. And Cotto, of course, you know, just goes about winning championships by doing things like fighting the Floyd Mayweathers of the world, right? But I don't believe that Floyd has that goodwill with Conor McGregor. You know, in a way, this fight really is an insult to the sport of boxing. That any MMA guy in his first fight thinks he can take on a boxing legend. I think this is the kind of fight where when Floyd hurts the guy, Floyd's going to finish the guy. Right? I don't care about the guy's past history and stuff like that. That's not in boxing. That's in a different fight discipline. Right? To say that it's all fighting is as silly as me saying that a karate master can enter the ring, put on boxing gloves, fight by boxing rules, and beat Anthony Joshua. It's just not going to happen. Let's also talk about the pre-fight hype. You know, many of my friends are heavily into MMA. I myself watch MMA. Right? Now, MMA has different personas than boxing. It's a different culture. Right? If you've traveled internationally, let's just say it's a different country. You go to France, the French do things a certain way. right? Things fly in France that wouldn't fly elsewhere, right? Look at the entire circumstance of Macron and his wife, right? Their ages when they met, the circumstances under which they met. That flies in France. It doesn't fly elsewhere. Well, understand, a lot flies in MMA that doesn't fly in boxing. In MMA, the guys can openly have swag. Right? So, look, I'll concede. Conor McGregor's persona is spectacular. You see him on the stage with Floyd Mayweather, and McGregor just seems to have more swag than Floyd Mayweather, right? Because McGregor's accustomed to being on stage with people like Nate Diaz, right? MMA guys, they walk around, there's a little bit of a, limp in their step, right? They have, a lot of swag, no question about it. Now, by contrast, boxing has a completely different culture. You see the soft-spoken guy wearing the tuxedo. That's what they do in boxing. Guys like Michael Buffer wear tuxedos to boxing events. You see a guy, he's soft-spoken, he's wearing a tuxedo, or he's low-key, right? He, has gone to great lengths to look cool, to look suave, to look debonair. He might look like, let's say, a Sugar Ray Robinson. And you don't realize that this guy, Alexis Arguello, Mike Tyson, Julian Jackson, Marvin Hagler, did I say Lennox Lewis? You don't realize that these guys are some of the most ferocious guys possible in the ring. That your chances of surviving a fight against Mike Tyson in his prime were slim, unless you hugged him like James Bone Crusher Smith did for 12 rounds. That's the boxing culture. Right? Lennox Lewis, soft-spoken, he's there, sounding like a professor when he's talking about fights. Vitaly Klitschko, soft-spoken, respectful. In the ring, these guys are taking people out. Right? Who knows whether Hasim Rahman can count to 10 after Lennox Lewis took him out in the rematch. Right? Who knows? Mike Tyson, you see him today and he looks, like he's just left the beach. He's casual, he's low-key. Go back and look at Mike Tyson films. That's him finishing guys. When Mike Tyson walked in the room, you were afraid. There are fights where guys look afraid of Mike Tyson while they're fighting. The Bruce Seldon fight. Go back and look at that knockdown. What exactly knocked him down? I would say it was fear. You look at Marvin Hagler. This is the same Marvin Hagler who meets Thomas Hearns, the Hitman, in the middle of the ring. In fact, let's include Hitman in this list. They meet in the middle of the ring. Folks, neither of them came to win a decision. Both of them entered the ring. Somebody was getting stopped. Go back and look at that fight. Look at the first round of that fight. In boxing we have a phrase, a feeling out round. I want you to count the seconds, not minutes, the seconds of feeling out in that Marvin Hagler-Thomas Hearns fight. But yet, if you see Thomas Hearns and Marvin Hagler today, right, chances are the guys have on jackets. Chances are the guys are soft-spoken. Right? You see an interview with Thomas Hearns, he's deferential. Right? These are some of the biggest hitters, some of the baddest men out there. Right? Go back to how Thomas Hearns wins the title. In fact, go back to how Marvin Hagler wins the title. Marvin Hagler in the United Kingdom destroys Alan Minter. Destroys him. then drops to his knees in the middle of the ring as the crowd throws beer bottles into the ring. That's how badass these guys are. But you would never tell it. Looking at the guys today, right? As I said, if you invited Lennox Lewis, Vitaly Klitschko, Thomas the Hitman Hearns, Marvelous Marvin Hagler to your party, they'd be the soft-spoken guys. Right? If a guest came, the guest would have to ask you, which ones here are the boxers? Right? That's not the way it is in MMA. You invite Conor McGregor to your party, someone shows up, they'll tell you, oh, that's the MMA fighter. Right? But don't confuse the personas with the ferocity in the ring. Right? Understand, if you're a hardcore boxing fan, you're not only expecting Floyd Mayweather to win the fight, you're expecting a stoppage. Right? A stoppage. Go back and look at how Floyd Mayweather treated Hall of Famer Arturo Gatti in their fight. Right? Let's just say I'm not expecting Conor McGregor to do as well as Arturo Gatti did against Floyd Mayweather. And folks, he didn't do well at all. He was a punching bag. Right? So, people need to figure stuff out. Oscar De La Hoya, very heavy left hand. Finished guys. There was an Oscar De La Hoya, folks, before the Manny Pacquiao fight. You want to see Oscar almost decapitate a guy? Look at Oscar against Ricardo Mayorga. Right? That's Oscar just taking out a guy. Oscar against Renato Hernandez. Destroys Hernandez's nose. Breaks it in several places. You see Oscar De La Hoya now, like many of these boxers, he's wearing a jacket. He's soft-spoken. He's deferential. He's talking to some interviewer who has never stepped in a boxing ring, who might be 25 years old. And he's respectful. He's talking about the young guys who are part of his promotional company. Right? Please, don't confuse that with weakness. Don't think that if a Lennox Lewis shows up to a pre-fight press conference and some MMA guy is doing an MMA act, looking all tough, looking all swole, right, wearing a tight suit, playing to the crowd well, don't think that that means that when the bell rings for the actual fight, the MMA guy is going to be more ferocious in the ring than Lennox Lewis. Right? You want to know who Lennox Lewis is in the ring? Go back to the Andrew Golota fight. That's Lennox Lewis. You see him and he's respectful, he's well-spoken. Understand, that's because that's boxing culture. Right? In boxing, that's expected. You see Big George Foreman, the same guy who knocks down Smoking Joe Frazier 6 times. And he's talking about barbecuing meats. He's talking about his grill. Right? He's on some show right now with Henry Winkler where they're going around the world, William Shatner, and they're visiting foreign countries. Right? Please, to the MMA people watching this video, don't confuse that with a lack of passion. Don't confuse that with a lack of drive, a lack of ferocity. Right? So, I'll give Conor McGregor the win on the pre-fight promotion. As if that matters. Right? When the bell rings, I'm expecting Conor McGregor to find out that he's a guy having his first pro boxing match against a guy he can't find in the ring. And understand, Floyd Mayweather's not going to be there standing around for 36 minutes just to pick up a payday. I believe there's going to come a time in this fight where Floyd Mayweather starts hunting Conor McGregor. Right? The MMA crowd better pray, in my opinion, that they don't go to 8-ounce gloves. Because the guy who's going to be landing the punches is going to be the boxer. 8-ounce gloves helps the guy who's actually landing shots. And I expect that to be Floyd Mayweather. Right? Mayweather by KO, just read Floyd's comments. Right? When a defensive wizard starts to say, if this fight goes the distance, I'm going to consider it a loss. When you go through Floyd's record and you realize that Mayweather has had stoppages in many big fights, right? Look at Ricky Hatton at the end of that fight. Right? That it's really only later in Mayweather's career, when he's fighting physically bigger men, that guys have gone the distance, right? When he's fighting other elite fighters who are bigger, right? It's not just that the guy's bigger. It's that the guy's bigger and he's an elite fighter. Oscar De La Hoya. Right? That guys are able to go the distance against him. Right? Look at Mayweather's KO percentage, folks. Now, the fact that McGregor might be marginally bigger than Mayweather, okay, that would matter. If McGregor had the skills of a Lennox Lewis, a Julian Jackson. If he's a big-time professional fighter, okay, then you could say, okay, well, you know, he's a prize fighter, he's bigger, he's going to give Mayweather problems. Okay, fine. Right? Conor McGregor's not a professional boxer. Right? As Jimmy Cliff, one of my heroes, used to say, the harder they come, the harder they fall. Right? You know, McGregor's bigger. McGregor isn't a boxer. I'm expecting him to be stopped, as I see it today, April 11th, 2017. The best bet on the board is Mayweather by KO. If they go to 8-ounce gloves, to me that just means the fight ends even faster for Mayweather. Right? I'll hedge to play with McGregor by KO. That's really just out of covering risk. Right? That's not out of any firm belief that Mayweather's actually going to catch Floyd Mayweather. Right? I don't feel McGregor is Shane Mosley. Anyway, that's how I see it. Let me hear from you. I hope you leave your comments in the comment section to this video. Thanks for stopping by.